Houston Texans training camp on ESPN San Antonio. Brought to you by AA Best Bail Bonds, online at mybestbailbonds.com. And by Bud Light. Bud Light, the official beer of the Houston Texans.
Fun time of year when you get in free agency and then you draft players and then you get some undrafted players. Who has been the most surprising undrafted player that you guys have seen yet?
Well, I won't point out an individual, but what I will tell you is we got a couple of outside linebackers that look good. We got a couple safeties that look good. And all those guys are doing a good job. We do think that process was better for us this year. John Carr has started as our college director, and both he and Brian Gain in our personnel department do a fantastic job, and I think that process yielded better results this year. And so I do think that we talk about building that competitive roster and the depth of the roster, and you've got to hit on some of those guys, as you know, in order to do that and create that environment. And I think we were successful at doing that.
Houston Texans GM Rick Smith with us here on ESPN San Antonio. Are you watching Hard Knocks?
I am watching Hard Knocks in an editorial capacity.
I'm glad you're at least being honest. But you haven't had a major role yet in Hard Knocks. And, one of the things that I think fans, even though it's probably the worst part of your job, but fans really get into the scenes where a player gets told, all right, your dream is over. I guess that's going to be you doing that this year, man. How tough is that, actually? I know we all see it on TV, but you're telling a kid, you got to go.
Well, I had to do that last night. Obviously we made a couple roster moves last night, and so it's a difficult thing. But what I try to do is the thing that I am is I'm honest with him, and so it doesn't necessarily mean when we release a player that he's not able to play or capable of playing in the National Football League. So much about it is timing and fit, and if this particular situation wasn't a good one, there may be one down the road, there may be another opportunity for him to come back here. So whatever the situation is, I try to be honest with the player, and let him know that what I think is the best course of action for him or what to expect. But you're right, it's a tough time, it's a challenging time in an athlete and a man's life when he's worked so hard to do this and he's told that he can't. But more often than not, he gets another chance.
All right, now, Rick, you're the best-dressed general manager in the National Football League. Who's the best-dressed player on your roster?
Golly, the best-dressed player on our roster. I'm going to have to think about that. I think D-Hop thinks that he is. I don't know that D-Hop necessarily is, but I'm certain that he works about as hard as anybody in the locker room on it. We'll put it that way.
All right, so, but you know what you're talking about. Do you ever look up to him? Because I saw him last night on Hard Knocks going in the mall. Do you ever walk up to him and say, man, come on, what are you thinking? That doesn't work?
Yeah, I give him my opinion. I don't know that part of it matters much, but I certainly give him my opinion. He gets, these guys have to have thick skins in that locker room. The NFL locker room can be a real cruel place at times, and so you got to have some confidence. So the young man has a style and a vibe that he enjoys portraying, and good for him.
Rick, appreciate the time.
Thanks, guys.